The bats are getting so much attention nowadays with Yashasvi Jaiswal's coming off his handle today and Pant swinging it out of his arms. This series, one of the big headlines coming out of the series have been the bats.
Yes, I think because the bats have just got better and better. The way they're making the bats, the research that goes into it about what the willow should be, the number of grains in it, all those little things, then the spring handle. So the bats have just become better. And they've got a little more power in it, a little more strength in it. Maybe they don't last as much as earlier on, mainly because, batters are really going hard at the ball. But today, I think it's a lot easier to maybe clear the boundary. Apart from the fact that the boundaries have been brought in, is because of the bats. And of course, the gym work that the players that do.
And speaking of that gym work, how many bats are in those kit bags? Because they're looking very bulky nowadays.
Yeah, I think all the young players, they are carrying between 10 to 15 bats. And some of them, if it's a long tour, including test and the white ball cricket, they sometimes end up carrying 20 odd bats. I always used to carry about 6 bats. But the earlier days, I'm hearing from Sunny Bhai that they used to just carry 2 bats, which is very fascinating to hear from players who are used to carrying 4 to 6 bats, because you don't need to repair the bats. Apart from occasional ones where you like a bat and then you know that you want to carry on with the same bat, but most of the players, they change their bats very frequently. And if you don't like one, there is always another one which is ready. So nowadays, players have the luxury to carry as many bats as they want, and they change their bats frequently.
We're going to get into that story about the 2 bats in just a short while. But today we saw Yashasvi Jaiswal picking between 4 to 5 bats. How do you know on any given day which is going to be your weapon of choice?
I think you need to practice with that. What I did, and most of the players do that there's a second bat which is almost ready whenever the first one breaks. So you do carry 5 or 6, but you have a second one. You always keep that one ready. Sometimes you want enough options depending on the situation of the game, because if you are batting early in the innings, you want slightly lighter bat. Once you are set, you want slightly heavier bat when you want to score quickly, when the ball gets old. That's the time when you want to try and capitalize. So you just try and feel the bat, look at the balance of the bat. But most of the players, they know that this is my second bat. If my first bat breaks, then this is the second one which I'm going to use.
So would you therefore number the bats? Say if you carry 6 bats, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I always used to number it, but many players always they knew how their bats were. They could feel it, and then they can say that this is the bat which I'm going to use.
I've also heard from a lot of wives of cricketers that even when they have off time in their hotel rooms, they're playing around with their bats, or they're adjusting, or they're shadow practicing. What is it? Are you obsessed with bats?
Yeah, the batters are obsessed. They are obsessed with batting itself. It's not just the bat. But in the room, you can't play cricket. So as a batter, what do? You just try and take your stance, try and feel the bat, try and do some shadow work, just try and use your imagination that you are going to, if you are going to play the game tomorrow, what will be your defense shot, how are you going to play the cover drive. So if you don't end up doing a net session, or before a game, you can't spend a lot of time in the nets, because you just get 10 to 15 minutes to bat in the nets. So you just want to do some shadow practice to have that thing going in your mind. It's also the mental game. So you just want to have that grip, you want to feel that, and many batters always prefer that.
And now, coming to you, you told us a fascinating fact about traveling with just 2 bats. When you hear this conversation, how does that make you feel?
No, I mean, I've always wanted progress, so that's actually fantastic. I think one of the major problems was that, we didn't have bat contracts. So we had to go to, in India, we had to go to somebody who would give you a bat. Now, there was Nadkarni and Company near Metro Cinema then. They're no longer there. But, Babu, he would always give you a couple of bats to use, and never charged you anything. And then after, once you came on a tour, our major problem was, including your personal suitcase and your kit bag, you were allowed only 20 kilos. We traveled economy class. So, we got 20 kilos as the baggage allowance. So you can't, put, bats, etc. and make it heavy. In fact, we used to always have a problem in the old days, if you were even, depending sometimes when you played in Sharjah and all that. If you beat Pakistan, then if you're 25 kilos, you were allowed. But if you played, you lost to them, if you're 20 and a half also, you had to pay for the half kilo. So it was like that. But honestly, it is so good to see the bats now, and the way, the players are getting these extra allowances. We can do it now. BCCI has got the wherewithal to be able to, to make sure that the players don't have nothing to worry about accepting their game. Just worry about your game, and they take care of it. And that is how it should be. And so it's so nice to see that is happening. I mean, you're not worried about, when the family comes in, where will the family sit? BCCI has got a box over there where the families sit. Yeah. And all these little things, about tickets, complimentary tickets, all those things taken care of by BCCI means that the player can only focus on the game, which is fantastic.
Did it then make it tougher for you because they will carry 4 to 6 bats? Did the choice was difficult for you before a tour without seeing the conditions, not knowing what it's going to be like playing there, just picking those 2 bats that are going to be with you on?
No, I think you picked the bats which you felt were, good, the balance that you wanted. In the old days, what they used to tell us was you play and try and play the cut shot. And if you try and play the cut shot, imaginary cut shot with the bat, which meant that, without straining your wrists, that means it was a good balance. The weight was good for you. If you felt a little sort of, crick in the wrist while trying to play the cut shot, that means the bat was a little heavy for you. So then you picked it up yourself. Those were the things that we were told by our coaches, and that's how, we tried to pick the bats. That time, we didn't care about the grains on the bat and all that. We didn't. We just wanted to feel that, that it was good in your hands. And you picked it. And then, fortunately again, for us, we had seniors, Dilip Sardesai, Ajit Wadekar, these 2 names, they were Mumbai guys. So, if your bat broke, they would give theirs. And because we didn't have, so even if they had a different bat, because there were no bat contracts in those days, it didn't matter, so and Wadekar would, for example, give you a present. Of a bat. If you scored runs, if you scored 100, he would give you a bat as a present, so which was terrific. So even if you broke a bat, you looked around and, some of the senior players would, give you their bat.
And speaking of looking around, is this true for all the other teams as well? Are their batters carrying multiple bats as well, or is it just an Indian team?
I think Indian team has that luxury because most of the manufacturers are based in India. So other teams, other batters, they also carry about at least 5 to 6 bats. But sometimes some of the younger players who carry 10 to 15 bats, I don't think many players in the overseas teams do that. Occasional player might do that, but I think I've heard that Steve Smith's he is someone who carries a lot of bats. But apart from him, I don't think a lot of players carry 10 to 15 bats. It's just the Indian players who has that luxury because whenever they ask for the bat is ready. And even when we are on tours, even if we ask for the bat here, it can be couriered very easily and it becomes very easy.
4th Test, live now. Watch it on TV channels of Sony Sports.